I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Welcome to Andromenerds, episode number 4. My name is Minius of Minius GC, and with me are my fellow co-hosts, Tucker from Mass Effect Follower.
Hello, everyone.
And the one and only BioFan.
I like how I'm always one and only.
Do you want something else?
Well, I mean, Minius is the one introducing everyone, and he's alone, and I have a team.
Oh, BioFan's such a cool sounding name.
Well, thank you. Okay, I'll take that one and only then. Now. Okay, yeah, I'm fine with it. Let's do it.
Hey, we're missing somebody. What's going on?
Hey.
Yeah, we are missing Anima Gaming, for those of you who have noticed.
Anima kind of decided on her own to leave the podcast, not because she wasn't enjoying it, she loved being on, but because it wasn't really related to her channel, and she wasn't really getting a lot of traffic to her channel with the podcast, so she decided to focus more on what she does on her channel anyway. And you should still go check her out because we're still friends with her. She's still a great addition to the first 3 episodes of our podcast, and she also is responsible for our awesome logo. So you should still go check out Anima if you haven't already. But for now, there will be still the 3 of us, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely do still go and support her, because she is still an awesome person.
I really appreciate her trying to give the show a shot, too, even though it's not quite in the wheelhouse of what she does.
Oh, yeah.
We had her on because she was just an awesome person, and she also kind of represented the less ear-to-the-ground, super-duper informed audience that kind of kept us 3 in check since we're so involved. So we thought that would be...
randomly spout off facts like they're well known, even though maybe only a handful of people in the world know them.
Yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah, so she was kind of our good kind of
In
contrast.
leak number 3.2, this one guy said that one of the skin colors of the aliens is purple. Like, what are you talking about, man?
I would actually like to take a bet on one of the aliens being purple. I would actually like to.
All right, at some point we'll start
on.
a bet. We'll have to start a bet segment.
Okay.
We'll have a betting pool at the end of each video.
Andromenerds posts weekly, Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. in the UK, midnight Friday across Europe, Friday mornings at 8 Australian Eastern, and 10 p.m. on the International Space Station.
Or if you live in Texas like me, it's at 5 p.m. Central.
Anyway, we're going to dive into topics and questions, but first let's start with today's main topic, which is which Milky Way aliens will be making an appearance in Mass Effect Andromeda. We're going to go over them one by one, but first of all, there are several sapient alien races confirmed at this point.
I'm definitely going to say humans are confirmed.
Humans are confirmed.
Humans are very confirmed.
Asari recently confirmed.
Well, obviously they're confirmed, because we saw them in the video, in the E3 trailer.
Krogan are confirmed.
We've seen humans, we've seen Krogan, we've seen Solarian, and we've seen Asari, and we've seen something unknown.
I believe the Krogan popped up like in 2014. They were in that first What BioWare is Up to trailer.
There was a Krogan in that first initial well, it looked like a Krogan.
Well, in the concept, remember it like roared or something, like a dinosaur.
Its general body shape was Krogan-y. It didn't really quite have the facial features yet, because I think they were still working on that, but it was definitely Krogan-esque. So we've had it this long.
How weird would it be if they totally trolled us and there's this different race that looks exactly like the Krogan?
I'd be very sad. I would cry. I love the Krogan.
I would totally wreck it.
What would they be called? Like the Krogan?
They better just be Krogan. So we got 4. I don't think we mentioned the Solarians yet. The Solarians are going to be in it.
There was one on our ship typing away at some kind of typey thing panel, whatnot.
Yeah, it's also in one of the screenshots released, which might be a better image. And then it's quite possible that to the left of the human in the center, I think it's a Krogan, but it also could be a Turian.
I think it's too bulky to be a Turian.
That's what I was thinking too, but it could. The waist is very slim. I didn't believe this at first, but the waist is very slim. The armor is very bulky, but who knows? It could be distorted by something.
I've looked at it closer up and looked at like the back of a Krogan and the back of a Turian, and the hips are actually the Krogan
It matches
shape.
the Krogan much better.
It matches the Krogan, yeah. It may be a female Krogan, maybe. I'm still hoping for a female Krogan. Who knows?
We haven't seen a female Krogan without the full on like clothing cover going on. Because Eve is like completely covered in clothing the entire.
Eve wasn't like her role in her society wasn't in combat necessarily, so maybe this Krogan is special and she decided to put on battle armor and be a badass because that's what I would like to see.
Yeah, we do know that before the Genophage, female Krogan were badass warriors. That's a thing.
I mean, the Krogans remind me a lot of the Spartans from, Rome.
Oh, I don't know. The Spartans
or Greek
are a little bit different. Yeah, Krogan are much more crazy.
Well, I mean, like this, how the Spartans, even the women knew how to fight. That everybody was a fighter in the Spartan.
I would
culture.
think Turians were a little bit more like Spartans.
Yeah, I would think the Turians are more military organized versus the Krogan are just kind of
barbaric.
Yeah, more anarchy, barbaric, violent kind of. I would say the Turians would be closer to the Spartans.
So anyway, we have our humans, Krogan, Solarians, Asari, all confirmed for Mass Effect Andromeda. We're going to go over all the major Milky Way races one at a time and debate whether or not they're going to be in and how likely we think they are to be in. First of all, Turians, like we've been talking about. Are the Turians going to make it to Andromeda?
I would be so surprised if they weren't. Like, it's pretty, like...
I mean, it's a council race. They're going to be on the ship.
The council races are probably all pretty safe, but they're the only non-council... Well, they're the only council race that hasn't been shown yet. But I think that will change pretty soon, because the Turians were one of the most popular races in the games. They were one of the most well-loved by fans, so I feel like Turians are pretty safe in terms of going to Andromeda.
It's going to be a huge bummer if they're not there. A huge bummer.
Yeah, well, I mean, 3 out of the 4 confirmed races are council races. So,
well, actually, yeah, you're right. Sorry,
we're counting humans as a council race.
Yeah,
and the Krogan are not a council race because I don't think they'd do very well in politics. Personally, we'll see. All right, so we think the Turians are... How about... This is probably the most interesting will this race join the Milky Way galaxy question. How about the Quarians?
I think the Quarians will be on the ship, but not as like a squad mate, like because they'll be engineering.
So here's one thing to talk about too is we're talking about races that are going in mass, and then maybe you could have like a scattered Quarian here that got caught on their pilgrimage in the wrong spot and got sent over, but they may not have a full-on, I don't know what to say, enclave heading out there.
Yeah, they wouldn't have a ton of them, the thing is, because most of them were with the flotilla.
I'd be a little surprised. So what we're thinking here is that the trip to Andromeda from the Milky Way, since all these races are ending up in a single cluster, in the Helios cluster, we're assuming it's a group effort, right?
And they are pretty tech-oriented, so maybe they could help with construction of means to get to...
construction and maintenance.
Yeah.
Theoretically, a Quarian ship or a small group of Quarian ships could split off and join the relocation effort.
Theoretically, the writers could write something in pretty easily. Maybe not super logistically, but they could write something in pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't think the Quarians heading to Andromeda makes a ton of sense, but I also think they're going to be there because people are going to flip out. They're going to want their Quarians. Quarians got way too popular to leave out, and you could easily write something to make it work.
Well, I mean, just because they're popular does not mean that they're going to be in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't have it as a lock.
Because I'm thinking that because they weren't really... They were allowed on the Citadel, but they weren't allowed a lot of other places. So I'm wondering if they wouldn't have been included, if they would have been excluded.
Yeah,
because,
that's the main concern.
Because of the Geth thing.
It does also depend on when the game takes place. If it is after the creation, I mean, if it's like sometime in the Mass Effect trilogy, the Quarians are still being punished for creating the Geth.
Mm-hmm.
So not a sure thing.
Them, I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't there. Let's say that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't there.
Let's make it more interesting. 10, a scale to 1 to 10. 10, they're going to be there absolutely. 1, they're not going to be there. Where do you put the Quarians on that scale?
5.
6.
5. I'm going to go with 7. But yeah, that's a lot of room for them not to be there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, there's one other major race, and I gave you guys a little document. This is not there. How about the Geth, though? Do you think that Geth will be in Andromeda?
No.
No, I don't think they will at all, because their existence within the galaxy is so dependent on events in Mass Effect 3, like whether they're going around and having conflict with all the races, or if they'll eventually be inducted in and be peaceful. I think it's so dependent on that choice in Mass Effect 3 on whether all the Geth get wiped out or whether all the Quarians get wiped out, that I think the Geth are too dependent on that choice for them to be present in Andromeda. Also, because we're leaving before the end of ME3, they probably wouldn't have been allowed onto the ships leaving for Andromeda in the first place.
I totally agree.
I just think that enemies or characters or races that were enemies in the game are not going to be in Andromeda. So the Reapers, the Geth, the Vorka, and the Collectors. I don't think
the thing about the
Vorcha
though is that they're kind of the general like outlaw goon gun for hire kind of race. Smuggler race, yeah. So I think like maybe they could have been smuggled onto the ships so they can smuggle some more.
So like stowaways is what you're saying.
Stowaways, yeah. Like I feel like that could be a possibility if they popped up. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they showed up.
It'd be the difference between a stray Vorcha and a bunch of Vorcha.
Yeah.
It'd pop against a stray Vorcha there somewhere.
Because I feel like Vorcha, while we've always seen them in violent situations, aren't necessarily like public enemy number 1 like the Geth are. So I feel if some Vorcha walked by, people would be scared, but they wouldn't be like, oh no, we have to kill them, like immediately, you know?
They may not be scared. They may just chuckle. The Vorcha were frequently comic relief.
That is true.
I know serious Vorchas there. And even when they're all over in the Omega Station, and nobody's scared of them, they just kind of think they're gross.
I don't want to touch that.
Well, I was talking like...
They do. They think they're gross.
Like if they showed up on... Like, I'm thinking the ships that are leaving are kind of like Citadel level of higher society, kind of. Like I feel that they might be that kind of culture, like the Citadel kind of higher ups. So I think they'd be kind of like, what is a Vorcha doing here? Oh God, kind of thing. Instead of like the Omega where like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. You know?
Okay, so we're going to go with Vorcha, maybe Geth are out, Quarians are maybe, Turians are in. What about the Batarians? A lot of people want Batarians in.
Really?
Do the Batarians? Yeah, it's interesting. When I brought this topic up on one of my videos, Batarians very popular, far more popular than I thought.
I mean, I didn't know they were that popular either.
I'm unsure about that. Again, it kind of depends on when it takes place in the Mass Effect trilogy. If it's later on, because it depends on how big humans are. Because if humans are a big thing in the game, then because of the battle between the humans and Batarians, that the Batarians might not be on the ship.
Well, I could also see a similar situation to the Vorcha where they're kind of brought on and there's kind of serve the role as like guns for hire. Because when it got to Mass Effect 3, most Batarians were either refugees because the homeworld got blown up, or they were guns for hire. So they could still be there, but I don't think they'd have a major role if they were.
If you were like organizing a trip to Andromeda and you need peace on your ships, the Batarians aren't really the race to invite to that enclave because they're generally not very nice to people.
If this is a private invitation kind of expedition, then the Batarians probably wouldn't be invited.
I could see a couple of Batarians just being there, saying like, okay, we're not going to follow our crazy government and we're going to go out to Andromeda on this, but certainly not part of the government.
You've got to consider the fact that if a race is there just to have one character in for a minor role, then that's a lot of time and effort to create all of those textures and assets and create the character model in the new engine and put it in the game. So if they're going to do it for just two Batarians that aren't major characters, then probably unlikely. But take the case of Javik in Mass Effect 3. If you don't count the flashback, only Prothean in the whole entire game, but he's a pretty important character, so he's worth making that character model and all the textures and everything. But a Batarian, if they're not a major character and there's only a few of them and they're not a common enemy type, then probably not going to be in the game, I would say.
Very good point. I think it's also possible to create, like, let's say you want to open up the possibility of a multiplayer character. Then it would make sense to go.
Then it would make sense if they were just kind of there, but they had the ability to like fight. Then that would make sense.
Yeah, and then you can bring them in that way.
I'm gonna throw that character model creation thing at the Quarians as well, because if there's only like a few of them and they're not important, then creating their character model and the time and effort that would go into that would probably be too much for just like small minor background characters.
All right. Another small, well, not as minor, but kind of in a second tier behind there's a big 7 races, which we've gone over already. Humans, Krogans, Solarian, Asari, Turians, Quarians, Geth. But what about the Drell? Drell also popular.
As much as I would love to have the Drell in Andromeda, because Thane is absolutely awesome, there's too few of them to really have that.
Yeah.
I want more of them. I feel like we didn't get to see enough of them in Mass Effect, the trilogy. I would like there somehow to be a Drell population, like the Drell come with. Because aren't the Drell also kind of dependent on the Hanar? And the Hanar are
that would be those two would be connected.
The Hanar are pretty diplomatic, so I feel like the Hanar maybe could like work their diplomatic ways and get onto the ship, and maybe they decide to bring a lot of Drell with them for reasons.
Or instead of that, the Hanar could be diplomatic and talk about that and send the Drell as their ambassador, as the Hanar ambassador.
That could be true, because the Hanar might be like, well, we don't know what's going to happen with this expedition going to this other galaxy. So
we're going to send the Drell.
Yeah, that could be it. Because we still don't know, the motivations for leaving just quite yet.
I think the motivations for leaving are because of the Reapers possibly showing up. But if it's not, then that changes the dynamic quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd really like some news on the motivations for leaving.
I'd love some news on anything.
That's what I want to see on N7 Day. That's one of the things I want to see on N7 Day, is why we're leaving and when.
All right, same thing. I think you could see a spare Drell or two.
But then you'd have to consider
the character model thing.
There is a lot of work goes into that you might not think about.
Yeah. Because Thane was really important, so that's why he was in the game. And his son was basically Thane with some slight recoloring. And the multiplayer character was the same thing with some slight recoloring. So, maybe.
Just like every single Prothean looked like Javik?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's not racism. Not really.
It's not racist.
It's resources is what it is.
Okay, how about some of the more minor races, like, let's say, Elcor? Will there be Elcor in Andromeda?
Please?
No, there won't be.
I want some Elcor.
I want Elcor so bad. After they put out this plushie, I need Elcor in my life.
Again, just because, Elcor are my favorite race in Mass Effect, but just because it's a fan, I love how the Elcor talk. The way that they talk fascinates me immensely. But they're not going to be in Andromeda. They're not. I mean, we don't know how the beginning of the game might be. If the beginning takes place in the Milky Way, we might come across a few of them just in passing. But in Andromeda, I don't think they're not going to be there.
The game does begin in the Milky Way, technically, because there's that shot of the ships leaving Earth, and that's in
that
game.
might just be for the trailers, though.
Yeah,
but that's in game. No,
it
it was confirmed that all of the
is in-game footage.
Yeah, it was in-game footage. It may be slightly altered a bit.
It could also get cut.
It could also get cut, but I have a feeling that's in the intro, and they try and get the intro pretty solid early on. So I feel like it will begin. It may be just like 20 seconds of the game will take place in the Milky Way galaxy, okay? But that footage was in the Milky Way galaxy. It may be altered later, but that was leaving Earth with the ships. So
yeah, like what BioFan was saying, we don't know the extent of it. It could be 20 seconds of just kind of that footage and then a voiceover, or it could be an entire or it could be your training mission, like your tutorial level. It could be that taking place on Milky Way galaxy. We don't know. I think
it may be like how I personally think it will go down is kind of like that kind of shot, that kind of like leaving Earth with all the ships kind of thing. Some voiceover to explain why the ships are leaving, some kind of general background voiceover explanation. Then, boom, you're going to Andromeda, some pretty like intergalactic space flight kind of shots. And then it goes to Ryder waking up and boom, you hit the character creator. That's kind of how I think it will go.
Wouldn't the character creator have to happen before she wakes up?
No, but like, think about she wakes up, her head comes forward, and then character creator, and then immediately the scene begins.
I guess. It like fades in like it's a fluid thing, not like your character sits up, talks or something, and boom, character creation.
Yeah, similar to how in Mass Effect 2, like Shepard didn't wake up until after the character creator. So, like, Ryder could maybe open their eye. Ryder would open their eyes so you could edit, like, the eye color and things. But then, like, wouldn't start talking or moving around too much until after the character creator. So I feel like that scene we saw with Ryder in the trailer was kind of like the character creator was taken out of the middle, kind of, you know?
What I do like, though, with the character creation in Mass Effect Trilogy is you can go like male Shepard, female Shepard, then male Shepard again. Like, you know, his gender never really got specified in the history books.
Oh, really? You can carry that over like that?
Well, I mean, if from my perspective, it feels like the Mass Effect Trilogy was a story being told, kind of like a King Arthur story, all because of the Star Child at the end of Mass Effect 3. To me, it felt like it was this person. The child
in general, that like ending child, because the child can differ on certain conditions.
Yeah, but to me, it feels like it's a father telling his son a story of long, long time ago. Like if your parents ever told you the story of King Arthur or something like that. But I just like how you could change the gender. It's like, you know, his gender was never specified in history books, but...
Yeah, interesting. And
I also feel like that is a big thing of the choice in the game is that you're kind of choosing how the story is going. Kind of like if you're telling...
I don't think they meant to do that, though. That seemed like something that they added. Yeah,
I don't think that was intention. And I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, and I can't wait to read the comments about how stupid I am. But to me, that is the explanation to me of Star Child, is the entire Mass Effect trilogy is a father telling a son there's the story of this amazing person in the past, which is also explains why Shepard is at all of these key events instead of a coincidence because you're in the galaxy. You're a hero being told a story.
In my own personal interpretation of this, I completely ignore that scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, completely ignore that. Yeah.
I'm going to throw this out here because I know if I don't, the comment section's just going to be this and nothing else. But I'm pretty confident that scene at the end did not take place in Andromeda because they wouldn't have known how the Shepard thing ended, maybe. I don't know. I'm just going to say don't count on it.
Also, if you decide to deny all the endings or try to shoot the little Reaper child in the face, then the Reapers kill everybody in that cycle, and the Star Child is an alien talking to an alien parent.
The dolphin people.
The dolphin people.
The dolphin people.
So they're like, oh, that's the history of the Shepard, and the Shepard went through all this, and now we finally beat them in the next cycle.
This This was the story of Shepard. He did some amazing things in the first few bits, but then he really up at the end.
Yep. He's like, no, I'm just gonna let everyone die. It's cool.
But going back to
Actually,
the Elcor.
one more thing though. When I originally played Mass Effect 3, when I actually got around to playing Mass Effect 3, just because how busy and kind of late to the game I was, I got to Mass Effect 3 after the extended ending took place, and where shooting the Star Child was an option. I was very curious. I'm like, can I shoot him? And I shot him. This whole ending happened. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, whoops.
Yep.
That's funny.
Reload.
That was my favorite ending.
Oh,
'cause it
reload.
was so out of nowhere. The child gets so mad that you shot at him that he kills everyone in the galaxy.
It's like a kid. It's like a level 10 temper tantrum.
Yeah, level 10. I was like 15 out of 10.
Going back to the Elcor, I would like to point out, though, that in contradiction to my earlier statement, there's only, maybe like max 4 or 5 Elcor that ever existed in the trilogy physically. Well, they do have all the same character model, though, but there's only been like 4 or 5, so maybe...
That you can talk to?
That you could talk to. Maybe the Elcor could be there, since in the original trilogy they put them in there anyway, and there's only a few. Which kind of contradicts my earlier idea of the whole building the character model
Though
thing.
if you're building an expedition to Andromeda, are they actually useful to bring?
They can, they can carry stuff, kind of like
They can
camels.
like a pack animal?
Yeah, think about it. They're like elephants. You can just put some things on their back.
We need you to come along to Andromeda so you can carry our stuff around.
They let them be all over the Citadel for
let them
reasons.
That was the Asari. So they're the Elcor are located. As far as the Milky Way galaxy is concerned, not in a system with a mass relay, but in a system nearby an Asari colony that has the mass relay. So the Asari discovered them, and the Asari are all about friendship and stuff. So I'm assuming the Asari invited them and like to hang out because they like everybody. But other than that, they just don't seem... I mean, I would love for the Elcor to be there, but I don't see them making it.
My heart, Minius. My heart.
The Asari community is brought to you by My Little Pony. Friendship is magic.
Okay, there's some more. The other race that might be on the same level as Elcor. What about the Volus?
I think the Volus are going to be in Andromeda.
They're pretty business oriented and money flow oriented and economically oriented. So I feel like an expedition to a new galaxy sounds like a great opportunity to make some cash.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like the Volus would be like all up in debt.
Oh yeah, especially because look at what we've seen so far. That's not cheap.
Yeah, that does not look inexpensive.
So the Volus bring something, which is important.
Yeah, they bring knowledge of
economics,
economy.
Yeah,
economics. Yeah. I'm not like 100% like they're in it, but I feel like more confidence that the Volus will be in it rather than the Drell, Batarians, or even the Quarians. I think that the Volus have a higher chance.
I feel more confident about the Volus than I do the Quarians.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure about that, but there is also the one thing that they share with the Quarians is they got to wear exosuits all the time. So unless they bring their own Volus ship with their own atmosphere, everybody's got to be in an exosuit, and that can get tough.
Well, I imagine a lot of people are going to be wearing some form of exosuit.
I think anytime anyone leaves, well, maybe not anytime, but I feel like there's going to be a lot more exosuits than there were in the trilogy.
So it's like you work all this time, you do 4 hours on a character customization just for your character to be wearing a helmet 95% of the game.
I'm not so sure about that because it's a fictional story and you're going to want to have as many open air environments.
They can make oxygen be on places there wouldn't be oxygen.
Yeah, you want open air environments so you can have humans running around without helmets on. And if humans can run around without helmets on, then the Krogan, the Solarians, the Asari, the Turians, the Batarians, the Drell, Elcor, all them don't have to have suits on. So,
all right, I got a bit of a question here that I don't know if you guys know the answer to, but because we do know how all of these alien races speak English because of the I forgot what it's called, but
communication chip.
Yeah, the communication chip. But I'm very amazed that all of them breathe the same amount of oxygen.
Do they?
For them to all walk. Well, think about it. The Asari, the Krogan, Turians, they're all walking around on the Citadel without some different form of like. Is there something of that? Because
So to jump in here, if you go to a higher altitude environment, there's less oxygen versus at sea level. So as long as they're within a range, so the Citadel, say, pumped out, I guess, like, let's just say a level 8. The Krogan needed only like a 1. Solarians maybe needed like, and this is a like totally made up measurement.
Yeah.
Solarians maybe needed like a 4. Asari maybe needed like a 7. Humans needed like a 5. But they all got what they needed from it. So maybe...
Yeah, but even like with your example, when you go to a really high altitude, you still need... I mean, you can breathe up there, but you can't stay there and breathe. You need some form of assistance.
There's people that live in really high altitude environments.
Yeah, that's not quite true. Your body adjusts.
Your body adjusts to it. I mean, you still get what you need. You don't get as much as you would at, say, sea level, but you still get the minimum that you need.
I still do find it interesting that all of these alien races that are on the Citadel and just throughout other places, that they can all do this.
Well, if they
without
couldn't,
some
the
form.
series would kind of break. Like, they wouldn't be able to do all of it.
Yeah, and that is one of the things of it's science fiction. Shut up.
Yeah.
But it's just something I just thought about right now.
I don't think the Volus breathe oxygen. I don't know what they breathe, but I don't think they breathe oxygen.
Well, you do hear them having trouble breathing when they talk.
Yeah, but they got a suit and a filter on because if they didn't, they would die. So they're breathing something. I just don't think it's oxygen. I don't know enough about. It might be in the codex somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, you don't hear the Koreans having the same problem when they talk. You don't hear them having a raspy, Darth Vader-esque kind of breathing problem.
I'm just assuming they have a tank. We're going to have to read into that. Someone can look it up in the comments and tell us how stupid we are. Totally okay with that. Okay, what about, I'm going to just list a whole bunch of other races, and you can see if you pick one out that any could be there. You got Protheans, you got Rachni, you got Leviathans, you got Collectors, you got Keepers. Any of those making it?
No.
Maybe Keepers?
Really?
No,
I mean,
because
maybe.
Really?
No, because the Keepers were engineered to only be on the Citadel, and they were engineered to only deal with the Citadel. So unless we're taking the Citadel itself, they won't be there.
I could totally see you jacking some Keepers and putting them on a ship, and they would just die.
Yeah, but then they would, when you mess with them, they shut down.
Yeah, don't they blow up though?
Yeah,
like that was a big thing in Mass Effect 1 is there was a side mission where you had to keep track of the Keepers.
Yeah, if you interrupt them or mess with them or interfere with them, they will shut down, explode, etc.
But I'm just kind of thinking that maybe we create, like, you know, like we're using the word we used a lot during the last podcast, synthesize something similar to the Keepers, kind of like a clone or something like that.
You could genetically re-engineer them, maybe?
So that would be like
that's what
a
I'm thinking.
side race or like Keeper's cousins or something like that.
Keeper 2.0?
I mean, obviously, you're not going to have like a Keeper squad mate or some sexy time with one of them, but just imagining kind of maybe them working on it,
Well, I mean, we got all these other
maybe.
races that are pretty capable. I don't know.
Well, and also think about, do we know what the Keepers... I mean, how much does it take to upkeep a Keeper? Like, Koreans and stuff, they have to eat, they have a place to sleep, so that... What do the Keepers... Do they eat? Do they...
Yeah, they
We do not know these things.
There's actually like the underbelly of all the wards. They have a bunch of like protein generators and stuff, and they eat that. Or at least I believe they eat that, but there's a lot of like organic tissue going in, so they take care of themselves, but they are very tied to the Citadel. I don't think you could pull them off of it at all.
No, I don't think you could.
Because I'm just thinking, like, you know, sure you can have a Korean there, but you have to feed it and stuff like that. And that same amount of power of feeding that one Korean might be able to go into feeding 15 or 20 Keepers.
I think you're going a little too deep into it. I don't think that's going to be a story consideration. Maybe you have to get resources or something to feed all the people or something. I don't know, but I don't feel like you're going to have something quite that deep. Protheans, unless they somehow made it to Andromeda before being wiped out entirely.
I
hope they're not.
I think we need to leave the Protheans
Yeah, let's
behind.
leave them alone. Leave them behind. I'm not really.
We talked about this a little bit last week, but the Reapers too probably should be left behind.
Please don't. Please
Yes,
do not.
please don't have the Reapers in it.
Yes, okay, in the comment section, yes, they theoretically could get there. Just story-wise, that would not be
Well,
fun.
their
It
directive
wouldn't
was
be fun.
kind of aimed towards where their creators existed, i.e. the Milky Way. So I kind of feel like they were created and their only real objective is to kind of do their thing for the Milky Way.
Which would be nice, because, yeah, I just... be better not to rehash that storyline.
Yeah, let's not.
The only thing that is kind of interesting is that it could be... No, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Let's just leave the Reapers out of it.
And another thing is also, I mean, they really don't need. We do want all of these races in the Milky Way, but honestly, they don't need to do that. They could just say, oh yeah, only these 4 races are going, but here's 20 new races that you're meeting. From a fan point, we do want all of these races in, but honestly, there's no 7 races are going to be in there. It could only be the humans, Krogans, Solarians, Asari, and maybe Turians.
I agree with that.
I could totally see that. Yeah, I could see that, but I don't think there'll be 20 new races. I think between 4 to 7.
Well, I'm just meaning that they might rather introduce a whole bunch of new races rather than not rehash, but bring in some old ones.
Yeah, because the new ones will have to bring their own kind of cultural conflicts versus the ones coming along, unless they get new plot conflicts between the races, then the new races will kind of be used to resolve new kind of racial conflicts, you know?
I think the game would be better served by bringing somewhere between 5 to 7 Milky Way races and having the rest of them be new.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, which is kind of what we're on board with, which is probably what they're thinking.
That are some side ones like Elcor and Hanar that are just kind of there, you know? Plucked in little places.
Possibly, yeah.
Oh, but in terms of the Hanar, they were kind of semi-confirmed when I tweeted with Cheryl Chi. Do you say tweeted with, tweeted at? I don't know what the correct verb is. But I tweeted at Cheryl Chi when she tweeted that, oh, Hanar humor is really funny, or something like that. And I was like, is that, something to do with the game, or is that just kind of general office humor? And she said a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B. So I think that's kind of semi, sort of, kind of, little bit, maybe sort of confirmed.
There's a lot of moving room there. Yeah, it might be, it may not be.
I'd give them a 70% chance.
Wow. Okay.
Well, see, that's why I'm thinking the Drell, the Hanar, because again, we could hear the communication from them, but they could be saying the Drell.
I could see that, it's the Drell, playing some sort of message, this is your objective thing, kind of from the Hanar. Yeah, I could see that.
So I'm still, even though from what you said, I'm still not thinking the Hanar themselves are going to be in Mass Effect Andromeda.
I love the way you pronounce some of these. Hanar.
Vorka, Hanar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pronounce it however the hell you want, dude. They're fake people.
Dr. L.
Dude, do you know what was a lot of fun? Pronouncing the old alien races.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was fun.
Someone corrected me on one of them. I don't know how you actually know how they're pronounced.
It's do you not remember this one time this one person said it all the way in this one side mission in Mass Effect 2? It's no, I do not.
Dr. L. Get it? Dr. L. Ha. No.
There's one race that we haven't mentioned that's a sentient alien race, and that's the Yogg. What about the Yogg? The Shadow Broker race.
No. They were only mentioned they were only really in the Shadow Broker DLC and then in the Solarian mission on Mass Effect 3.
I don't see why you would bring Yogg with you if they want to kill everybody.
Yeah, I don't see the point of bringing Yogg unless it's some very rich person's pet.
Yeah, I just dude, they're just going to kill everybody.
That would be pretty cool, though.
A rich person's pet. Well, the only person that we know of to have a pet was the original Shadow Broker, and the Shadow Broker got killed by that pet. So let's just not bring them.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so those are all the sentient races that we've gone over. Probably, like we said, somewhere between 5 to 7. That might be all that makes it, even though there are 21 races. Or 20, I believe, total. So, Tucker, you wanted to talk a little bit about a potential Mass Effect movie?
Yeah, and I know that you guys have seen the Mass Effect movie Paragon Lost, but I was just wondering, okay, so a live-action Mass Effect movie, let's say it's confirmed. When do you want it to take place? And do you want any main characters from the games coming in? Do you want characters maybe from a side mission that you may have heard from to be in it? Or do you want it to be a completely brand new story?
Completely brand new story.
Yeah, that would be the only way I would be on board with it.
So you don't want it to be maybe about the Turian and human, the first conflict?
Sure.
I would
do
be all
that,
right with
just-
that, so long as it was like totally new characters.
Yeah, just don't bring anybody into it. I just think, I mean, I would actually actively not be excited for a Mass Effect movie. Like Paramount is going to make a Mass Effect movie. Why? I don't want to see that.
Yeah, if it's based on the trilogy, or say even if it's about Liara or Tali or Garrus or any of those people, I wouldn't be excited about it because we already really know about those characters.
Yeah, I wouldn't really. I would watch it because I'm BioFan. I kind of have to, but I wouldn't be excited about watching it, you know. But I would say at this point they would probably make a movie related to Andromeda. So,
yeah, I mean, I feel like I did like Paragon Lost, and I feel like even though it did have a character from the game of James, it was his story beforehand, and also James was only in Mass Effect 3. You didn't learn his stories through 3 games like you did Garrus, Liara, or Tali. It's this brand new kind of person, and here's a little bit of his backstory.
Yeah, that would be the only way. Can you name here? I can name all of the good video game movies in history. Ready? I named them all. There are no good video game movies.
You didn't like
there
Doom?
really aren't.
They're all terrible. Sorry, they're all terrible.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah,
there has not been a
good.
single good one. They've all been awful, and I mean, it's just you don't need to make them. You don't need to do it.
Well, wasn't the Warcraft movie? I've heard that was pretty good.
No.
Okay.
What about that Assassin's Creed one they're making with Michael Fassbender?
Hasn't come out yet, but also no, it's not going to be good.
Okay, what about the first Halo movie, Forward Unto Dawn?
That wasn't released in theaters,
No,
though,
it was
right?
released online, but it's still a live action.
It still
movie.
counts as a movie, though.
So there's been a couple online things that have actually been kind of interesting.
Wait.
But
Dawn of the Seeker.
Dawn of the what?
Dawn of the Seeker for Dragon Age.
Yeah, also not thematic. Are we talking about like a cinematic release by a big studio? Because that's kind of what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about.
I think we're just talking movie in general, just any kind
I'm
of
talking
movie.
movies.
Okay,
here.
so
Yeah.
like I could totally handle a direct to video or online type thing, but if it's made by a major studio, no, I don't want to see it. I do not want to see it.
Well, I mean, was Paragon Lost in theaters?
No,
I
it
think
wasn't.
Not big time.
It was in select theaters.
Was it actually? Okay. Yeah.
Well, not like nationwide. Not nationwide, every theater kind of thing.
James McAvoy is Commander Shepard.
Here, I'm double checking because I could have sworn that I read that it had a very limited theatrical release,
which might mean like two theaters.
Yeah, a few select theaters and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, I think if you're gonna do that, brand new characters, pick a storyline or pick a historical point in the Mass Effect trilogy, do it then. That'd be the only way I'd be on board with it.
The release for Mass Effect Paragon Lost was in November 29th, 2012, of a limited theatrical release, and then was later released on December 14th, 2012, as a digital release. So
maybe 2 theaters.
It did have some theatrical release, but to be fair, so does other things like Red vs. Blue. They have a very, very few theatrical release, as in like 2 theaters, but that
still counts.
Theatrical release.
Still counts theatrical release. Okay. There's one more thing I wanted to get to, and these podcasts are on a little bit of a delay because we need to go through and do all the production behind it. But did you guys see the news about the latest Exoplanet Discovery?
No.
Really? I'll just get into it. So pretty much on the star that is closest to us in the universe,
that is not the sun.
They discovered an Earth-like planet.
I remember hearing about something like this, like 4 or 5 months ago.
No. This is very, very recent. They discover these
is there
planets
another
all
one?
the time. I mean, and I say Earth-like. That's a total guess as far as its size. So there's a couple things that you need theoretically for a planet to support life. You need to be like obviously a certain size and stuff, but it's generally a certain distance away from the sun. But this planet that is discovered is in the quote Goldilocks zone of the nearest star. It's about 1.3 Earth masses. Could be rocky, could have water on it, and it's literally the closest star to us.
How many light years is that?
4.6. So that's the point where you're like, that is actually within our technological range. They're working on some new technology called solar sail technology. Some people who are listening to this know a lot more about it than I do, so I'm going to try not to sound like a complete idiot. But in essence, it's you put up a sail like you would on a sailboat, except the sail catches solar wind, and then the solar wind drives it in one way. And it actually works better with when you hit it with lasers instead. But theoretically, those things...
How fast can it go?
1/10 of the speed of light.
Okay, so we could be there in
46
years.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's quite possible that if we want to and fund that stuff, you could actually get a probe out there in our lifetime and check out this planet and see if there's stuff there. That is so cool.
I like it.
That
Let's
would
do
be-
it. That's cool. I'm going to be
That's pretty cool that that's in our lifetime.
I just
That's something to
totally
think about.
geeked out the other day. Totally geeked out.
If they were to do it today, I would be like a 60-something-year-old man going, I remember when they launched that solar sail thing.
Why? Have you never heard a 60-year-old man talk? What was that? That's like a 90-year... What is wrong? Were you... My God, man. Were you a coal miner?
Solar sail technology, we haven't actually gotten it to work yet. So, I mean, like really work. So that's...
Okay, so then that is my like 90-year-old man when they actually get it to work.
And
Yeah.
we don't actually know how fast it can go. The approximated or guesstimate test speed is like 1/10 the speed of light. So
So
yeah,
that
it's-
could be me at 90 saying
it
that.
could be. Just the
Okay.
possibility that we can actually visit one of these exoplanets. It's just awesome. That's so cool. I just wanted to bring that up.
Have you guys... I'm very curious. Have you guys ever seen this video where this scientist named Michio Kaku,
yeah.
something like that? I know I knew his name, but I cannot pronounce it correctly right now. But he put up a Science of Mass Effect 2 video where this person was interviewing him about these technological things that they have in Mass Effect 2, and he actually talks about the possibility of these things actually existing and how they would
Yeah,
work.
we should get a link to that in the description box. He's
I'll send it to you right now so I don't forget.
it's a very interesting video. Definitely worth a watch. Guy knows his stuff. Yeah, Michio Kaku.
It is pretty cool. And also, if you're just a fan of science, just check it out. It is pretty cool.
Kelly, is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal.
Go ahead, Tucker. What have we got?
Oh my God, we're such nerds.
We're Andromenerds.
Come on. There's no way. There's no way that's not hilarious.
All right, before we get to questions, I do want to say that each month at Mass Effect Follower, we do a giveaway for Mass Effect Andromeda. And this month's giveaway is the way you're entered in this month's giveaway of September is to send us a Mass Effect related question to our Gmail at andromenerds@gmail.com. So all you need to do is just send us an email with a Mass Effect related question, and you are entered to win Mass Effect Andromeda on any playway or any console or computer that you want. So if you want on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, let us know if you win, and you can get it. It's not specified to any playstyle.
Very cool.
And, to answer Minius and BioFan from any of the thoughts, no, you guys can't enter it. So.
Fine, I'm excluding you from my giveaway coming up in October. There,
Oh, okay.
that's retaliation. You can't win any of my
It
stuff.
would be a bit unfair.
I'm going to let BioFan enter.
I'm too poor to give anything away, but I'm still excluding you from it.
Okay, what kind of questions do we have?
All right, the first one is from Christopher Sorrentino, which is, what are your thoughts on a co-op feature allowing a friend to take control of a squad mate and fight with you during story-driven missions?
I think we talked about this in like
A
maybe
little
the
bit,
first
yeah.
or second episode.
Well,
Yeah, but
we talked about a little bit about co-op kind of like side missions and stuff
in
like
terms
that.
of taking over a squad mate,
Yeah, story. Yeah, taking over a squad mate and having story missions. How would you feel about that?
so long as they got some kind of loot bonus or something from it, because otherwise they wouldn't get anything other than entertainment out of it, I guess.
It is a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like it
Really?
because it's now. I feel like because it's a main story mission that it might take away. Like, you have this awesome scene, you see your buddy there spinning in a circle.
Well, just for the combat, though. I mean, not in the cutscene.
Yeah, that would make sense in the cutscene. Oh wait, unless like when they did say you were playing the squad mate and then a cutscene triggered. I think you would watch the cutscene, but you would watch your friend pick all the choices, and you watch the cutscene play out by what your friend does in that case.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I also kind of feel like my choices might be affected because I have a friend there. Like,
Really?
it's like I could choose. Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to go full renegade if I have a friend there. I don't want him to see that stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't want to experiment with something like not curing the genophage while having someone like judging me for experimentation. I always cure the genophage, to clarify to the audience. Always
Kill
cure.
all those
Just
Krogan.
was curious. Just
Kill
was
all those
curious.
Krogan. Kill them.
Happened.
I'm whispering in your ear. Kill them. Kill them all.
Minius, your avatar is a little baby Krogan plushie.
Yeah.
By the way, I love that idea. I'm just going to go on board. I love that. I don't think it's going to happen, at least not in this game, but I love that idea.
I love it too. I don't think it will happen, but if it did, I'd be like, cool.
I would still much prefer co-op being like if you load up co-op, story missions are out, but you can still do any side mission that you want to do.
They're going to have those little side missions that you can bring people in for sure.
I mean, that's what I would like, but I would like the main story missions to not happen, especially because you could be in a scene that if your friend's playing, you could be at like the end mission and your friend not know.
Yeah, like there'd be potential to spoil the experience for your friends. Yeah.
And although it is if you're inviting your friend, it's kind of a trust thing that you're telling them, but you might not know that they're not as far ahead, and now you spoiled something.
I think you can take care of that with verbal communication.
And I also kind of feel that the story missions are very focused on the player, not the player and maybe another friend or two.
Especially think about if, say, like... Okay, I'm going to use a DA2. Okay, I'm going to...
It could do the route of Dead Space 3.
Well, I was going to say, like, consider something where the squad mate is central to the story and the squad mate may not survive or may not stay with you dependent on actions in that part of the story. That would mess up that whole thing. Like, take, for example, Isabella in Dragon Age 2. If you were playing as Isabella with your friend playing as Hawk, then at that certain point in the game, she would leave, would make that complicated.
Or what about the Vermeer choice?
Or the Vermeer choice.
Although in that choice, none of them were on your squad in that mission.
I mean, yeah, but if you have one person that he's playing as...
Well, no, they wouldn't be.
Caden
They couldn't be on your squad for that mission. Literally blacked out. You cannot choose them. I'd like it to work, but I'd like it to work. I'll just put it at that. I don't see it happening, but...
All right, Nick, another question here is from Diana Davis, which is, do you think that Cerberus will be in Mass Effect Andromeda?
I hope not.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that they might be, like a few sneaky people undercover as Cerberus agents.
I might have a video out on this by the time we go there, but I would prefer to see Cerberus left behind, and if it is Cerberus, it's probably a Cerberus splinter organization, because Cerberus is very much the elusive man, but not everybody in Cerberus agreed with the elusive man, what he was doing, so they might form off and get their own organization going that has many things in common with Cerberus, but not actually Cerberus.
Yeah, I could see that because technically, as the elusive man says, Cerberus is an idea. So maybe it's something similar to Cerberus, but with a different name, different color scheme, different agenda.
The different name. I would love if the different other name is like Cerbrek.
They might just call it. So I think what is it? I want to say it's Oleg Petrovsky, but I can't remember the general's name in the Omega DLC. You guys, can you remember that offhand? Or are we all going to look bad?
I'm going to Google it so we look less bad.
Okay. Anyway, he in the comics, they're talking. He's talking with the Elusive Man and questioning his motives. And obviously, he is not in the inner circle of what's going on, but he still considers himself a Cerberus guy. So he could potentially, someone like him could have their own organization that has their ideals based in the original Cerberus ideals, but aren't doing crazy Cerberus stuff, or the same kind of crazy Cerberus stuff like serving the Reapers, which is what they ended up doing. Spoilers for Mass Effect.
It is indeed Oleg Petrovsky.
It is Oleg Petrovsky. All right.
It is General Oleg Petrovsky. Points to Minius.
Some of that. Yeah, I like that character in particular. Some of the comics, he's in some of the comics in the Omega Takeover comics. He doesn't really see eye to eye with the Elusive Man, but is a Cerberus idealist generally. Just doesn't do the kind of shit that the Elusive Man does.
All right, the next question is from Mistress Piotessa, which is a classic one. Who were your favorite romances?
Caden.
I never got into
Definitely
the romances too much. So, what, Liara, Tally. I never really got super attached to any of the romances myself.
Caden's my favorite, and then I tried the other ones just to see what they were like. I really like Tally's. Tally's is cute. Jax is fun. I think those are my top 3.
I was Liara, definitely. Throughout almost every single one of my playthroughs, it's Liara. And Mass Effect 2, I think I tried different romances of Jack and Tali and Miranda. But I definitely want to put in that the writers of Mass Effect Follower, Elwyn, his is Garrus, and Dan is Tali.
Everybody likes Garrus, apparently.
I always have my imagination will go off and I'll romance Gianna Parasini, who makes cameos in 2 of them. I think she's super hot. That would be my romance.
I did romance Kelly in Mass Effect 2. I don't know if you guys did that, but that romance came out of nowhere. Kelly.
You're like, oh, whoa, I didn't realize that happened.
Yeah, that romance was something else.
It escalated very quickly.
I was like, Kelly's like, I have something that is not really ship approval or something like that. Meet me upstairs. I'm like, all right, let's see what this is. I go upstairs, like, oh dear God.
Oh boy.
Like that went from 0 to 100 extremely quickly.
All right, we got time for one more question.
Well, that's awesome because we have one more, and this one's actually quite a fun one. It is from Geiger something. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. And this person asks, why did the Reapers not indoctrinate dangerous enemies like Commander Shepard, Admiral Hackett, or maybe Rex or Mordin to try to stop the cure for the genophage in some way? Or even an important scientist working on the Crucible?
I think they were trying.
Well, I mean, they tried with Commander Shepard. I mean, that whole theory. But why not Admiral Hackett or Rex or Mordin?
I think it's an access issue.
Or someone working on the Crucible.
They didn't really have access to everybody. So...
Yeah, they didn't have access to everybody, and if you think about it, I don't think they were bothered. I think they were just like, we're strong enough, we're just going to come in and kill and everything. Like, we don't really need to indoctrinate.
Indoctrination is tough because I don't believe that everybody in Mass Effect agrees on how that happens.
Yeah.
So, theoretically, you need to have not one-time contact with the Reaper artifact, but you need consistent contact with the Reaper artifact or have the Reaper implant you at some point.
If you think about indoctrination as a disease, kind of, because if you think about it, they come into the galaxy and try and wipe everything out. At some point, the very stubborn survivalist species or members of a species will have come in contact with Reaper tech so much that maybe they'll become indoctrinated. I think it's kind of like a fallback safety net. that if there's any kind of cockroaches that wiggle away that we can't find, they'll bump into Reaper tech so much that eventually they'll become indoctrinated, you know?
Yeah, well, there's two major characters in the trilogy that are absolutely indoctrinated, right? There's Saren. Saren decides to go poking around inside of the Reaper himself, try to take it over as a starship. Obviously, direct contact with a literal Reaper, gets indoctrinated. Then the Elusive Man, who there's something in the comics where both Saren and the Elusive Man get zapped by probably a Reaper artifact, but that doesn't quite match up. But the Elusive Man becomes obsessed with Reaper technology, has it all around him, eventually implants himself, probably by indoctrinated suggestion. But they all have constant contact with Reaper tech, and that would need to be implemented towards a target. It'd be very hard to target specific people.
I guess that's true. I mean, I just think that that's kind of a fun question of like, why did they not try to target them?
I don't know how you would do. I mean, at that point, they'd be aware of what's going on, so they'd be looking out for that potentially. But yeah, if you could just like pick someone at random and send like a robot into their brain, they totally should have gone after those people. But I'm not sure it works like that.
That and also story reasons. You know, it's science fiction.
I mean, story reasons obviously is like, you know, we're not gonna do that.
I would like to see indoctrination left entirely out of Andromeda.
Yeah, let's keep it.
If the Reapers aren't there, indoctrination can happen. There could be some form of mind control.
I would like mind control out too.
I mean,
let's just
let it go.
The mind control A.
It's let the characters be the characters. I know it can be neat when a character technically turns on you, but I believe that's been done to death in Mass Effect, so there's no real reason to bring it.
And with indoctrination and mind control, it's more like, you know, this person's a puppet. They're not doing their choices, but it's a lot more unique and interesting when, no, this person is doing it because to their core, they believe this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I find that far more interesting.
I prefer the gray villains, like the Logains, that they think they're doing the right thing because they have reasons for what they're doing, even though what they're doing is technically antagonistic.
So I think that mind control shouldn't be in Mass Effect Andromeda, although maybe like a small kind of thing, not as a big enemy, but maybe
there could be like a parasite species or something.
Yeah, like a parasite or a plant or something that, you know, this goes on with we're learning new things.
Because they've done that. They've done it a couple times. The Reapers, Thorian, Leviathans, they all have the kind of like mind control, and I'd like to see them do something else.
Let's move on from the mind control.
Yeah.
Or what about something like the Rachni? How the Rachni would take over a dead body?
Yeah.
Oh.
That would be really
it's
cool.
The same
I'm okay
thing.
with that. That's cool.
That's not mind control.
I guess because they're dead, right?
Yeah, I mean, what is that? Just a reanimation of a corpse?
Well, because they did it with the living Asari as well. The one that you meet on Ilium.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be fair, that one kind of popped out of part of it. Right? No, I'm thinking of something else.
Anyway, I'm sticking with me not wanting to see it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
That's all the nerdiness we've got for you today. Join us next week as we talk about what kind of squad mates we want in Mass Effect Andromeda. If you've got any questions for us, Mass Effect related or otherwise, feel free to email us at andromenerds@gmail.com, and your questions may be featured in an upcoming episode. Along with our co-hosts, be sure to follow Andromenerds on Twitter. If you like this podcast and would like to see some more awesome videos, be sure to check out and subscribe to our respective channels. I'm not done yet.
Oh,
he's not.
I'll go myself then.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna cut all this out.